Hello and welcome all back to Election Time News. Today is Sunday, September 29th, 2024, and today is part one of the two-part series where I'm going to be doing the best realistic case scenario for each candidate. Now, this is our base map. This is how things generally are going right now, and I'm going to start with Vice President Harris, and then tomorrow I'm going to release a video for the best case scenario for former President Donald Trump. Now, this is going to be based off of shifting the Polymarket odds. We're also going to be looking at polling data based off of Real Clear Polling, 538, and DDHQ in the Hills polling averages for each state, as well as, of course, adjusting from recent polls, looking at some data based on Politico's 2020 results, and just looking at shifts based on the 2020 results based on Jackson Jude. So to start things off here, we have the overall map. Now, some states are going, generally speaking, all of the swing states in a very good scenario would all go for Harris. Now, these are going to be in different margins. For example, Michigan would probably go up to about 5 points to even 6 points or so. Looking back at, this is the 538 projection, looking back at the 2020 results, but before that, back in 2012, 9.5 points for Obama in 2012, after it went 16 points for Obama in 2008. So, obviously, it is the most left-leaning out of the Rust Belt trio here, but going 3 points, it would probably about double on a really good night. Especially considering that her odds of winning Michigan are the highest out of the three at 67%, two-thirds, 51.49 in Pennsylvania, and 56.44 in Wisconsin. So now looking here, again, at the map, next up is going to be Pennsylvania. This one's going to go into the number 4 column. This is going to be lean. Now, this is going to be between 2 and 5 points on election night. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 or above. So this is probably going to be about 3 to 4 points on election night. Looking back at the results, we had a 1.2 point victory, which is just over most tilt, but I use 2, 5, and 10. So here it's going to be just barely tilt, 1.2%. The state is just barely in Harris's column right now, but on a good night, it would definitely shift way over into her column. Now, for Wisconsin, we're going to have it also be in this one because it is the fundamentally most right-leaning, but it also is going to, it's just barely above tilt. It is in tilt, just barely above toss-up on Polymarket here, 56% to 44%, and so it's going to just barely go blue, which would give Harris the presidency off the bat. Now, that's not all that's going to happen. Obviously, looking here, Minnesota is going to be a higher margin than it has been previously. Additionally, we're going to see potentially obscenely low margins in Ohio and Iowa, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, and Indiana, Missouri, Louisiana, probably not. Mississippi would. Montana would probably drop down a step. Alaska would probably be very close. Now, going back onto the states that would actually flip, there's not all that many states outside of these swing states. Now, we're going to see a tilt of Arizona and North Carolina. Now, these are somewhat out of the same ballpark, 1.3 points for Trump and 0.31 for Biden, but I believe that currently they have a relatively similar set of demographics. Actually, North Carolina is more likely to go for Harris than Arizona or Georgia, according to Polymarket right now. Georgia is now 60-40, and Arizona is 65-35. So Georgia is starting to falter. It is starting to go down. Meanwhile, Arizona is getting stronger for Donald Trump. Now, going back to here, we're going to probably see a tilt Georgia and actually probably then a lean North Carolina. these two are currently not looking so good. Now, looking at the polling, though, North Carolina's Trump 1+4, but then Georgia's 1.5, Arizona's 2. So on this map, these two are going to be tilt. Georgia's kind of close. It's a bit more than North Carolina for Trump, but I think it is a bit out of the question. Then, of course, we're going to have a lean Nevada. It went blue every single year since 2004, where it went red by only 2.5 points. It has been shifting red in respect to the nation, as it went by 2.4 points for Clinton and Biden, even though the nation voted 3% more for Biden. But on a very good night, Harris would absolutely win it. And on Polymarket, I do believe she does have a lead of 52% to 48% in the state. So she's already favored to win it. She would win it by an even larger margin. So on a very good night, you might even see Maine 2nd District start to go down a bit. Kansas would probably go around 12 points. Mississippi probably around, I don't know, using 10 points for margins. None of these would falter other than potentially Missouri. Montana probably wouldn't, but we'd see very close margins in Texas, Iowa, Ohio, Florida, Alaska, Maine. And then we'd see very strong showouts in most of these swing states, in which Harris would absolutely win the election, 319 to 219. This is essentially, again, the best case scenario. This is not my official prediction. And to make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Republican best case scenario for election night. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bright red button. Going for 250 subscribers by election night, which I will be live streaming. So make sure to tune in at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be streaming until 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, or a bit later. That's to be determined. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, especially not tomorrow's, the Republican side of this. Now, have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see you all tomorrow.